So who is responsible for what happened last night? Was it anarchists masquerading as Canucks fans, as the Vancouver Police said today? The troublemakers did start it, but the people who stayed and watched and cheered are not without blame themselves. There were lessons learned and lessons apparently forgotten in the 1994 Vancouver Stanley Cup riot. A large crowd in a confined space with a common purpose that was snatched away. Throw in the anonymity of a uniform and add alcohol. A Victoria social psychologist says that is a recipe for a riot. Mary Beth Burton reports.
Thousands of disappointed fans watched the Vancouver Canucks Stanley Cup dream vanish. And even before the final buzzer sounded, violence erupted on downtown Vancouver streets. Police believe anarchists and other criminals sparked the riots.
Sure, there's some people who probably went down there with the explicit purpose of engaging in bad behavior, but most people who are in that type of circumstance are going to fall prey to mob behavior in some way.
Dr. Stinson says there were active and more passive rioters. A few people flipped and torched the 15 vehicles, but many, many more cheered them on. Others kicked and stomped when the damage was mostly done. More still posed for pictures around the devastation and fueled the madness. Dr. Stinson says losing self-awareness is the first step to rioting. Add alcohol and the inhibitions disappear.
And we lose that sense of caring what other people think of us. And when that happens, we lose any inhibitions we might have had that might have kept us behaving as civil, good members of society. And so more kind of primal instincts might come out.
The instinct to knock over public porta potties, even with some people inside. The instinct to smash windows with no regard for the cost of cleanup. It was as baffling to some last night as it is to most today.
But somebody lose, somebody win. He has nothing to do with the business, with the people of the downtown.
The destructive behavior wasn't limited to inanimate objects. Fistfights were commonplace. People were stabbed. This person dangled over a busy intersection. 100 arrests were made.
It's embarrassing. I wish we'd grow up a little. Definitely.
I mean, the world's watching this right now, and it's just like, truthfully, what does Vancouver deserve to win when this is the kind of response that we have?
Riot police arrived. Tear gas was fired into the crowd. Vancouver looked like a war zone. And much like the military wears uniforms, Dr. Stinson says the rioters in Canucks jerseys felt even greater anonymity and a license to loot.
Being in some kind of a uniform, being in this big town where nobody knows you, those are kinds of things that will also contribute to a riot happening.
Dr. Stinson believes the large gathering was a bad idea, that the crowd should have been dispersed sooner, and says something as simple as a name tag for all would have reinforced the idea of the individual and dismissed the pack mentality.
And Mary Beth joins us now with more on the story. Mary Beth, it's hard to imagine anything positive might come out of this, but is there?
Well, the social psychologist at UVic says people who watched the riots in horror and dismay seem to have found a common bond today. They're taking comfort in the stories of the anti-riot heroes who stood up to the angry crowd, and they're finding hope in the volunteer cleanup that also is a pack mentality, but it's of a much more positive kind.
It brings out the worst and the best in people.
Sure does.
All right, Mary Beth Burton, thank you.